Okay, hi there. Thank you so much for inviting us to speak as part of this event. We're just going to begin by introducing ourselves. My name is Sophie Hatchwell. I'm a lecturer in History of Art at the University of Birmingham. I also co-convene one of the British Art Network subgroups, Post-War Painting and Regional Art Collections, and I'm the editor for Midland Art Papers, an online journal which will be the subject of our talk today.
Hello, my name is Carol Thompson. I'm Senior Curator at Wolverhampton Arts and Culture. I oversee the exhibitions programme there, the collection and the technical team as well, so it's a very wide range of responsibilities. Yes, I'm really looking forward to telling you about how we're collaborating with Midland Art Papers.
Great, okay, thanks Carol. I'm in the driving seat of the presentation, so just bear with me when I start to share my screen. Okay, Carol, can I just check that you can see this?
Yes, I can, thanks.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for listening to our presentation, which is about developing collections research through cross-sector collaboration. We'll be speaking today about our experience of cross-sector collaboration, working together on the Midland Art Papers project, an online open access journal that publishes scholarly articles about our regional collections in the Midlands, and is produced in partnership with 13 public galleries across both the East and West Midlands. During our talk, we'll outline what we've learned about cross-sector research and collaboration through the MAP project, the challenges of collections research today, and why a collaborative approach is the way forward. So I will begin by introducing the MAP project, our aims for facilitating collections-based research, and our approach to collaboration and why we feel this is so vital in today's climate. Carol, please could you outline what you will be talking about?
So yes, today really I'll be talking about our collaboration over the past 3 years or so, and really looking at the benefits of the collaboration for us as an organisation, and just a little bit about some of the projects coming up.
Wonderful, thanks Carol. So overall, our intention is to share what we've learnt about how to work effectively across the higher education and museum gallery sectors. And with our paper, we're going to be highlighting two important arguments that we feel our project makes. First, that when engaging in cross-sector collaboration, we need to develop ongoing, sustainable partnerships that are based on shared interests and that will build research capacity moving forward. And second, that academics, when they're interested in collaborating, need to fully appreciate the needs of museums and galleries and respond to museums and galleries' strategic priorities as they think about how to move collaborations forward. So I'll take the first half of this presentation, and I'm going to be starting by outlining what the Midland Art Papers, or MAP project, is. So it's a project that comprises an online journal based on a regional collaboration between researchers at the University of Birmingham and cultural practitioners from 13 partner museums, including Wolverhampton, the New Art Gallery Walsall, Birmingham Museum and Gallery, the RBSA, the Barber Institute, Leamington Spa, the Potteries at Stoke-on-Trent, Dudley Art Gallery, Derby Museums, the Newark Gallery Leicester, the Gersha Gallery Lincoln, and the Herbert in Coventry. And through new research and innovative public programming since 2016, our project has sought to open up public collections of art and design to new academic perspectives and contexts in order to support the wider understanding and accessibility of our regional collections. And through events, exhibitions, and our dedicated online journal, we support and advocate for the crucial work our partner institutions do in championing and developing and protecting our artistic culture and heritage. Our strategic aims are, first, to initiate new collaborative research into the outstanding collections of fine and decorative arts in public museums in the Midlands. Second, to foreground and broaden access to these collections. And third, to develop a collaborative research culture between my department and the museums and art galleries we partner with across the Midlands. From this, you can gather that collections-based research is one of our central concerns. Through the MAP project, academics in my department and beyond have partnered up with curators and collections managers to identify aspects of our regional collections that are ripe for new research, and then conduct this research, publishing the outcomes in our journal. Recent examples include articles that offer new interpretations of important work and which respond to pressing and timely issues. We've published 3 issues of the journal so far, And we have many examples of articles that do this, but I just want to share one example today. This is my colleague Greg Salter's research on the British artist Donald Rodney, a major figure in the Black Arts Group in the 1980s. Greg researched an important work by Rodney that is in Wolverhampton's collection. And in this article, detailed here on the slide in front of you from our second issue, Greg compared Rodney's drawing to work by David Hockney. This drawing is actually based on a Hockney painting, and also work by Keith Piper. And Greg discussed the ways in which this work plays with queer imagery and addresses and critiques our views of masculinity. So in addition to offering new interpretations of important works, responding to these current issues, other things that our articles do in our journal include uncovering overlooked works that have a fascinating history that deserve to be more widely known. An amazing example of this is my colleague Nora Veszprémy's research into Central European and Hungarian art. And this research led her to discover a work by the disabled Hungarian artist Karoli Kotás in Birmingham Museum and Galleries collection. And they'd owned this work for 80 years, you can see it here on the slide, but it had never been displayed. Nora's article in the first issue of the Midland Art Papers Journal explored the exhibition history and provenance of Kotás's painting and how it came to be in BMAG, as a result of which the gallery have now put it up on permanent display. The final thing that we see with articles in the Midland Art Papers Journal is the opportunity for curators to publish their own collections research, so it gives them a platform to publish their own research. Again, there are many examples of this, but I just want to highlight one for now. What you see displayed on the slide here is details from Emily Smith's article from Leamington Spa Gallery, and her article looked at the Medicate collection held at Leamington. This focuses on her research into the gallery's collections of artwork that represent disability. You can see here illustrated by works in Leamington's collection, including those by Mark Quinn and Alexa Wright, which Emily did a huge amount of research on for this article. From this, I hope you can see a couple of things. First, how our project has supported new important research being conducted on our regional collections. And second, how this has also in turn offered our curatorial partners new opportunities to explore their collections, gain more knowledge about them, and then share this information with the wider public through publication. Now, we argue this is crucial for a number of reasons. I mean, COVID has sort of given a different slant to this in a way. But when I first prepared this presentation, I was thinking about the various sort of budget cuts that had occurred as a result of austerity. So budget cuts in the arts in the Midlands were quite extreme. Across the Midlands as a whole, we saw local authority funding for the arts slashed by 19%. And also a report from Arts Council England in 2016 indicated that 1 in 5 regional galleries across the UK had either closed or planned to close. And this report highlighted the need for new working models within the sector so that arts organisations could maximise available resources. So Midland Art Papers was really set up in response to all of these issues coming to the fore around about 2015-16. Now, there's anecdotal evidence from British Art Network meetings that curatorial roles have also sort of suffered under this kind of pressure. So from my own British Art Network subgroup, I know this is something that curators and collections managers have also been thinking of. There's a kind of knock-on effect, I guess, we've seen with funding cuts in the arts in terms of how audiences have been engaged. I realise I'm talking here as an academic and not a museum professional, but sort of doing research around forming the MAP project. We found out that of the geographical areas in England that the Arts Council works in, there are a number in the bottom sort of third in terms of arts engagement per capita. And of these, 34 of these areas are in the Midlands. So we can see it's quite a sort of a pressing subject for the Midlands to deal with. And once again, you know, the logic behind forming the MAP project was in response to these kind of data coming out of Arts Council, which showed the needs for new ways to think about collaboration. So we came up with a few ways in which we would like to collaborate in order to kind of work on improving collections knowledge and access in the area. First of all, we wish for our collaboration to be equitable. We approach our museum partners and ask them what aspects of their collection they would like us to research, rather than dictating what we want to look at. So we match up participating academic colleagues with museums based on shared specialisms. We'd like our collaboration to be mutual, so we encourage partners to approach us with projects they would like to collaborate on, rather than waiting for us to initiate. And we encourage projects that will have a mutually beneficial outcome, so they won't just be sort of tailored around an academic's needs. We also want our collaborations to be strategic. We ask our partners to share their strategic priorities with us so we understand what they need from us as academics and why. And the aim is that any collaboration should have outcomes that should speak to our partners' strategic priorities. And finally, our collaborations are always pragmatic. We appreciate the constraints on time and resources that our partners have. Often, we have the same constraints too. So we focus on practical, manageable partnerships arranged around existing schedules and commitments of all involved. So I hope that gave you a useful outline about how MAP came about, what it's trying to do and how it's trying to work. I'd now like to pass over to Carol to talk about the experience of Wolverhampton.
Thank you, Sophie. Thanks. So yes, I'm just going to speak a little bit about our partnership to date and some of the specific outcomes and some of the benefits to us over the past few years. So we've been involved with the MAP project since 2017, and it was originally discussed and set up through Tess Radcliffe and Sophie Heath, who were at the gallery at that time. I was in a slightly different role, but I was aware of what was happening, and I was sort of seeing it from the sidelines at that stage, but have really enjoyed being more involved as we've gone through. So the first steps really were about establishing the relationships with academics at the University of Birmingham. We got together with a range of art historians there who had different specialisms. We looked at our collections. We had, I remember having a meeting where we got together, went through the stores, had a look at what we have, and really sort of just discussed particular areas of priority for us at Wolverhampton and how that sort of matched with particular academics' own areas of research. And so from that, we really came up with a set of proposals to take forward. So some real sort of in-depth research opportunities which focused on particular works in our collection. I've put in there a bullet point about attending events and launches, because that, I feel, is an important part of our partnership, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that further on through the presentation as one of the benefits. So yes, let's move on to the specific outcomes. So in Midlands Art Papers, in the first edition, we had a wonderful article by Dr. Kate Nichols, a research fellow at the University of Birmingham, and she included, she was writing a paper on Sophie Anderson, a cosmopolitan Victorian artist in the Midlands. We have this work in our collection, The Song, which we really knew something about, but not a huge amount. So it was a fantastic opportunity for us to really have that deep research into this work, and others in the Midlands as well. We discovered that most of the works by Sophie Anderson had been collected by Midlands galleries, and this was of interest at that stage. It's also become interesting to us further down the line, because we're working on another exhibition about Evelyn de Morgan, and looking at whether her work was collected by Midlands institutions. So we're able to look back at this article by Kate, and it's helping to inform our current thinking about that exhibition too. So next slide, please. Another really wonderful piece of research was on this particular painting in our collection by Alfred Wallace. Again, it was by Rebecca Savage, who was a first-year PhD candidate at the Department of Art History, curating visual studies at the university. And we have paintings in our collection or works in our collection that have very little documentation. So it was great that Rebecca has a real passion for this work and was able to dig really down deep and find some really helpful new information about the work. We haven't yet put it on display with that information, but it's certainly something we want to be able to do. So next screen, please. Sophie's already mentioned this particular project here, which was a piece of work around our drawing by Donald Rodney, untitled Cowboy and Indian. I think Sophie's already sort of covered this pretty well, but again, it's a great opportunity. And it sort of leads us into new ways of thinking how we can display this work, how we can link it in with other art movements. And at Wolverhampton, we have a fantastic pop art collection. We also have a great collection of work that we're building around the Black art movement. So this work seems to combine those two. And we're also very interested in identities and sort of particular gender identity. So it's a really good grounding for sort of how we can look ahead at sort of presenting other ways of other perspectives about our works. Next slide, please. So this was a major project and really hugely enjoyable, very successful exhibition, which was co-curated with Dr. Kate Nichols and Dr. Samuel Shaw at the University of Birmingham. And it drew on the gallery's collection of paintings and photographs and hunting traps to explore the relationship between animals and humans. So it was called Reframing the Wild, Humans, Animals and Art, between 1750 and 1950. So it was just a lot of the work actually that's on display here had really not been out of the store for many years and was pretty much overlooked. I think a lot of it would fall into that category of a bit sort of old and dusty and you know, what's the relevance these days. But what Kate and Sam managed to do was to sort of give them a new relevance, look at how they were, look at this sort of changing history around animals and humans, and look at current issues such as animal rights, extinction, and our attitude to colonialism as well. So bringing those two together into what was a tremendous and really thought-provoking show, as I say, certainly wouldn't have been thought of by in-house curators. Next slide, please. So yes, alongside that exhibition, we had two curator talks, and we had an event where we explored the idea of extinction. So it gave us opportunities to bring in audiences in those ways, explore some of the themes around the exhibition in quite a sort of deep way. So yes, that was another wonderful outcome. Next slide, please. So I think from what I've said so far, you can already see some of the benefits that have come from our partnership with Midlands Art Papers. But I'll just run through these points to really sort of highlight them properly. I don't think we're unusual in that at Wolverhampton it's a very small team of people who are trying to keep the programme running, the collections side of things. We've been reduced from many staff to just a handful. So we actually tend to spend a lot of our time on admin, and it's very easy to be drawn into that sort of tunnel vision of just dealing with emails, dealing with the essential day-to-day aspects of our job. So the opportunities to be able to work with academics and work with other people within the sector, it gives a real sense of being part of something bigger and networking and having a sense of mutual support. I think one of the very obvious benefits is that we have this real sort of deep research into our collection. As I said, we have a very pared back curatorial team. So this is really invaluable, having people who have the academic skills and the time and the interest and the passion to be able to look at our works in our collection and really sort of dig deep. Which links to the next point as well, that people have their own particular specialisms, and enable us to see things in work that would otherwise potentially be overlooked. So it brings new perspectives and fresh insights. I, again, probably like other galleries within the region and elsewhere, we at Wolverhampton Art Gallery, many of us we're not art historians. So we have different skills which are incredibly important for the work that we do, but we're not subject specialists. So a lot of that has sort of gone in the past with people with cuts and certain members of staff having left. So being able to draw in new knowledge and expertise is really important for us. All this obviously adds to our documentation. It adds to our ability to support the works and to give access to the works in our collection, and you know, have enhanced information around them. That's clearly very, very important as a benefit. I think it also gives them a much better awareness of our collection. It's being able to have our work highlighted on the MAP website and have the that sort of extra marketing around our work is really crucial. We have just one person in our marketing team who is trying to do everything. So the more help we can get with that, the better. I think it also, as I said, we've already had one exhibition which was incredibly successful and beautifully curated, and we'd really like to be able to look at other suggestions, and we already have a few ideas in the pipeline. So we're working with Sophie and her colleagues at the university to develop some other ideas for exhibitions. I think, just going back to that point of feeling connected as well, the launch events that happen on a quarterly basis are a really excellent opportunity to meet with not only curators but academics. I think bringing those two together, it sparks some really new thinking and new possibilities. So I think we're able to really look at some of the issues from both perspectives, and really get some fantastic ideas of projects, and as well as topics for the Midland Art Papers. So I really value that side of the partnership. So yes, and of course, being part of this does help us to achieve our Arts Council goals as a national portfolio organisation. For example, being able to explore new ways of working, fostering partnerships and widening our audiences, and developing expertise. And of course, increasing access to our collections. So, next slide, please. Yeah, which brings us on to what next. I've already mentioned that we have a couple of ideas in the pipeline for how we can collaborate on possible exhibitions and articles. But one of the very exciting opportunities is that I believe the focus of the next Midlands art paper will be British Art Show 9, which Wolverhampton Art Gallery will be, or Wolverhampton as a city will be hosting next year. It opens in March, on the 6th of March, and will be across 2 sites. It'll be at the Art Gallery and the University of Wolverhampton. So we're obviously incredibly excited about that. It's a fantastic opportunity for Wolverhampton, and it'll be really great to be able to work with Sophie and her team on some possibility for articles in the next Midlands Art Papers. I think that's about, that's where my presentation finishes.
Wonderful, thanks Carol. It's been really, really lovely hearing Carol speak about the benefits that she's felt that Midland Art Papers have brought to Wolverhampton Art Gallery. And one thing that really struck me, well, there was 2 things actually. One, that the Midland Art Papers project has really highlighted just the absolute richness of collections in the region. The idea that we can go to Wolverhampton and see just these amazing pieces of art from the Victorian period right the way through to the Black Arts group in the 1980s, right the way through to contemporary stuff being shown today as part of the British Art Show 9, I think is just a really, really big eye-opener about the assets that are accessible and there in the Midlands and ready to be taken advantage of. And the other thing is the way in which, you know, our academic research has been able to kind of animate some aspects of those collections in terms of dealing with really exciting topics such as gender and sexuality. Sometimes as an academic, it feels like you're in a bit of an echo chamber because, you know, although we believe our research should be useful, sometimes it's quite hard to see how that is actually the case. But being able to collaborate with someone like Carol at Wolverhampton and actually see the research have an effect in the real world in terms of how people look at art and think about it has been really, really wonderful. So just to conclude what we've said here, really we're kind of arguing the case for it being possible to collaborate effectively between museums and higher education, but that collaboration should really be based on ongoing sustainable partnerships based on shared interest, and that it should be based around shared priorities between academics and gallery partners, that it should really be a kind of mutual, equitable relationship. So we'll leave it there, but we're very grateful for you listening to us today. And if anyone would like to talk more to us about our experience of collaborating, or if anyone else has had a different experience they'd like to share examples of,